Okay. Hello, anyone out there? I hope you're out there. If you are, kind of check in. Let me know if you're there. I'm going to change my glasses because these are my computer glasses. Okay. Hopefully there's some people out there. I think I got all my technical stuff correct. I did a YouTube video earlier this week. In fact, I did this YouTube video earlier this week, and I forgot to change my settings. So hopefully, and I'm going to check my cell phone to see if maybe I am up and running. Oh yes, I see myself. Okay, so I'm up. I see. All right. So hopefully you will join me. And let me know if you're out there. Okay, so I made this card. This is part of what we did last week. You'll remember this is the double twisted easel card. And I used the set that's called the Parisian Blossom set. I really like this set. And I saw like Tina McBride and some other Amy, I'm not sure if Amy made a card, but I did see some people making cards, so I was really happy to see that you enjoyed that. So I thought I would give this a try, and I liked it so much that I went ahead and I made a YouTube video, and I posted it here on Stamping Fusion. So hopefully you'll be able to see it. And I'm just trying to see if there's anybody else on. Okay, I don't see any other people, but I'm just going to go ahead and roll into this. All right, so today what we're going to do is I'm going to use the set here, the Parisian's Blossoms, and I'm going to do a technique called the 180-degree stamping technique. And what it's going to do is you're just going to take a stamp and you're going to create a background. Okay, you're going to create your own background, and we're going to talk a little bit about color because this kind of helps you to come up with a good color. And hopefully you can also hear me. So that I think you can hear me. All right. I don't know what I'll do. I'll just turn this on. I'm going to check my cell phone to see if maybe yeah, you guys can hear me. All right, so I'm just going to roll into this. So it's called the 180-degree technique, and we're going to create some neat designer series paper. So let me go ahead and switch over so that we can see exactly what you're doing. I'm hoping everyone had a good week. This is a tough week. I get kind of stir crazy, and whenever I sit here at my desk, I feel a little better. And I, called my mom, made sure she's doing well. And my sister, who's a nurse, goes back into work tomorrow night. So, keep her in your mind, keep her in your prayers, okay? Because our healthcare workers are working really, really hard to help us fight this. Okay, so let's go ahead and go over to looking at my desk. So I'm going to transition over. Okay, so I wanted to show you some of the cards that I made using this suite from the mini catalog. I particularly liked the Parisian Beauty and the Forever Blossoms. Really, really, really pretty sets. And I kind of started out playing around with it on this card, but then I thought, well, I'm going to try some other techniques. So I used the 180 degree technique. Let's see if we can see that. Okay. So I used that technique to come up with some of the background paper for this, primarily because one of the questions that someone asked was about, hey, how do you pick colors, or how do you get in and out of you know, a color that you may be working with, or maybe you stick into a color too much into a color. Well, one of the ways to do that is by using this technique, which is you basically take two shades of the same color, and this one here I use Blushing Bride and Petal Pink, and you use those two inks, and here they are. So you use inks that are pretty close to each other, and in this one over here I used Flirty Flamingo and Blushing Bride. So I used these two colors, and then I used these two colors, and I came up with this background. But I also took some silver ink, and you can't really see it, but I did kind of do a little bit of stamping, or kind of burnishing with the silver ink over it, and it kind of gave it a really nice sheen. The other thing that I'm really, really excited about is that these labels, and I think Amy is showing you lots of ways to use these labels, but these label dies for these labels are absolutely awesome. You can layer them, and that's what I did here, is I layered this one and this one to create some really neat I guess labels for sentiments. I did the same thing with this one here. I layered these two, and I put a little bit of ribbon, and because this was so large, I had cut the Eiffel Tower, but I just cut it in half and kind of let it run along the side. You can kind of see that. So I thought that was kind of cool. Is there anyone else who's joined me out there? You want to say hi? So these are really neat labels to use. The other technique that I'm going to show you briefly is this card, which is basically kind of a stamp over and kind of making this more like a vintage paper. And then I used this punch and created what looks like a little luggage tag, which I thought was really kind of cool. So let me show you how to do the 180 degree stamp technique. Okay, so what you're going to need is I'm going to take, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use, I have some paper that's already out. I'm going to go ahead and use this cardstock, and I'm going to take this large stamp, and the two pieces that I'm going to use are going to be, I'm going to use these two colors. maybe I'll use, let me see, I get my colors mixed up here. Let's Calypso Coral and Flirty Flamingo. I'm just going to get a piece of cardstock and I'm going to put this here. And I'm just going to start with the lightest color and I'm going to stamp this in one direction. Okay, then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees. I'm going to turn it this way. And I'm going to get the other color. And I'm going to stamp it in this direction. Okay, so I stamped it in the opposite direction. Now, because that's kind of the size of the stamp, now what I can do is I can take some of, let's see, where is my, I'm going to take some silver. This is some silver ink, and I have a, I believe I have a silver, here it is. I'm going to take a silver dauber, and I'm just going to kind of go around the edge of my paper. Like that. And we're just going to kind of go around a little bit. And what this does is that it gives it kind of a nice silver patina for your cardstock. And there you go. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put, look how pretty that is. Just going to put that one on top of there. And I'm going to take a nice layer here. I'm going to take this framelit here and we're going to layer it with this framelit, and I'm going to stamp a sentiment. So let me go ahead, and I'm using, for my base card, I'm using Calypso Coral. Okay, so that's going to go there, and then we're going to take, now here's another piece, and look how nice that layers right there. Isn't that pretty? So let's put this one down, and then let's pick a sentiment, and the sentiments come out of this set. This is a set that's sold together. It's the So Sentimental, so it comes with the dies, and it comes with the sentiments. And I think I kind of like, what does this one say? I can't thank you enough. That's perfect. We're just going to put that right there. And we're going to grab some gray, and we're just going to go ahead and stamp that right there. There you go. And that will go nicely there, layered on this. And I'm just going to add just a little bit more silver patina to this. And I think what I'm also going to do, I think I'm just going to kind of rough up this edge, just because I want this to look a little bit more, I guess, vintage. I'll just kind of do that. And then we're just going to go ahead and put that one right there. Let me grab some glue. And we'll just glue this right there. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and grab this piece. And we'll glue this one right here. Isn't that pretty? So you can do a card by picking two complementary colors pretty close to each other, and you can create your own background, and you can kind of use that as your guide for making for making a card. The complementary colors go very well together, and actually I think that can go right there. Let's put these on right here, and look how pretty that layers right there. Just layers gorgeous. See, and I have two versions of what I did with those framelits. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I can put this one right here. And this is very, very simple. Very simple stamping. This is not hard at all. There you go. There you go, very, very simple stamping. And here I added the embellishment of the Eiffel Tower, and then I added a little bit of ribbon. Very, very simple, and it's using these neat framelits. Okay, so that's an example of the 180-degree stamping for making a background. So let me find where this goes. Okay, so this goes over here. So the next one I want to show you is going to be, now here's another example of a background, and I haven't put this card together yet. But what I did here with this card is I used this Crackle paint background, and I use the colors. These are kind of interesting colors right here. It's Pool Party, it's Petal Pink, and it's Cherry Cobbler. And the way I came up with those colors is I went to the designer series paper, and it is the same colors that are used in this paper. And I just went to the back and I kind of look at what colors are being used, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to use the same colors, and I'm going to use the same colors and make my background. So using the reverse, the 180-degree stamp, I went ahead and I stamped my Crackle paint twice, and then I just went ahead and I stamped and stamped off the Real Pretty Blossoms. And I did those both in the Petal Pink and in I did them in Petal Pink, and I did them in the Cherry Cobbler, and I did my Crackle paint in Pool Party, and that's how I came up with this background. But it looks a little like it's missing something. So this is how this is going to go together. So I went ahead and I cut out the Pool Party and a little sentiment here. But I thought what would look good is that I could use the silver from the Eiffel Tower would look, I think that would look really good on the back. So that's what I'm going to put together right now. So I'm going to take this, and I use the silver foil, and I use my roll of tape to come up with how I'm going to put my Eiffel Tower on the adhesive roll on the back of my foil. And watch how nice this is going to come out. This is going to come off real, look at that. It peels off just beautifully. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put that right there, okay? And then this is just going to go nicely right here. So let's go ahead and pop this up on dimensionals. Let's see, do I have another pad? Just going to pop these up on dimensionals right here. And I should have, yeah, here they are. And then we're just going to pop this one up on dimensionals. And then that's going to go nicely. It's going to go nicely right here. But let's go ahead and glue that on our layering. Like I said, I use Whisper White, and then I did some background stamping using that 180-degree technique with Pool Party for the Crackle paint. And then these lovely cherry blossoms. And came up with this card. So there we go with that, and then we'll just go ahead and put this one right there. And there we go. So we have our next card. So we've done 2 cards using that background technique and using our label layers. Now the last card I want to show you with using some different type of background technique is this card here. And this card I used a crumb cake base, Calypso Coral as a layer, and then a piece of Whisper White. And I used my I'm going to use these, but I'm going to use my Calypso Coral. Let me put this away. And I'm using my Stamparatus. So let me move my Stamparatus in here. So I'm going to take the piece that I'm going to stamp, and I have arranged the stamps I have arranged the stamps kind of haphazardly on my board, and I have 2 plates. So I've arranged the stamps, and if you lay one over the other, you can see this postal sign kind of comes out over this postal symbol. So I'm just going to lay, and you really don't have to be as careful with how you're going to put your card, because it's going to be kind of a haphazard or kind of a eclectic collage. So I'm using the gray granite. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that like that. Okay, I'm going to lift it up. And I'm going to move it over here and move that. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of make sure, yeah, just stamp it like that. I'm then going to take it this way, stamp it here, and we're just going to kind of move it over here, and I'm just stamping this around. We're going to turn this, or turn our card around now. We're going to stamp it like that. And then we're going to, so we've turned our card 180 degrees, so it's kind of that same technique. And now I'm going to stamp this one right there. Oops, and it didn't quite take. And then I'm going to move this down a little bit. Like move it like right there, and I might do another one. Okay, so that's kind of how I want that to look like. Let me go ahead and clean off my pad. Now I'm going to take this stamp grouping, and this stamp grouping is simply the lettering and some more kind of marks. And I'm going to use my Calypso Coral. Now actually I think this is too dark. I think I'm going to use Fleur de Flamingo. Let's use Fleur de Flamingo. And we're just going to stamp that one there. And then I'm going to turn it over here. And we're going to stamp it this way. Okay, then I'm going to turn my card 180 degrees like that. And I'm going to come up with that. And we're going to do it this way. Okay, so that pretty much covers how that is going to look. So let me go ahead and clean off my stamps. So here are my plates, and I just want to show you how I did. I kind of did the stamps. I just lost one down here. I think I had like a moire right there. Okay, so that was kind of how I did my stamps. And now I'm going to take this off, and I'll move my Stamparatus off to the side. And okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this gray, and we're going to grab a piece of sponge, and we're just going to grab this sponge, and I'm just going to kind of sponge around going to sponge around this piece of paper. Okay, and after I've kind of gotten these corners, because I kind of want it to look a little bit weathered, we're going to take this little tool, and you can use your scissors, but then we're just going to rough up as best we can. I just want to really rough up these edges like that. And I'm just shredding this edge so it's just really, really just roughed up. Okay, so there, that is just really, you can just see it's just really rough, just a mess. All right, and you can see all my shreds of paper here. That's all good. Now I'm going to take this and I'm just going to crinkle this up really good, and then I'm going to open it back up. And this is going to be our background paper. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It looks just like it must have come through on a passport. All right. So this is going to go right here like that. And the way we're going to glue that down, but before I do that, I want to, instead of having a rough edge and a smooth edge, I'm going to rough this one up as well. Because I want this all to kind of be congruent. It all kind of fits together. I think I got this tool at Michael's. So I just kind of rough that up. Okay, so that's going to go there, and then this is going to go nicely right on top of that. All right, so let's go ahead and let's put some glue. And I'm not going to go to the edges on this. I want the edges to kind of crinkle a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of just put my glue on kind of loose like that. And I'm just going to kind of lay it like that. And I'm just going to kind of tap it down. It doesn't have to really be smooth as far as I'm concerned. See, it can be just kind of a little bit off. That's all right, because it's going to go on my card like this. Okay, that's how it's going to go on my card. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a label that's going to look like a luggage label. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use this set called Tags in Bloom. Now let me open this up and grab a piece of cardstock, and I'm going to have to get my little piercing mat. Turn that over. Let me get my block. I'm using this little tag and then this little saying that says sending hugs, which is kind of cute. Can you think about it? We're doing something kind of travel-ish, and we're sending hugs. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and let me find a piece of white cardstock. Okay, I'll put this white cardstock right here. Oops, I just ran it over my ink. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that. We're just going to go ahead and put it right there. Okay. And then we're just going to take the words sending hugs. We're just going to put that right there. Okay, easy peasy. Now we're going to grab the punch that comes with this set, which is right here, and we're going to punch that out. And I'm going to be closer to this edge to that edge because I want to do the kind of make it look like a luggage label. Okay. Okay, now this punch has a long slot and a dot, and what that's for, either putting a ribbon or putting a tag or a piece of string. I want this long slot because I'm going to put a piece of ribbon that's going to make it look like a luggage tag. So we're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to line that up like that. Okay, so there is my hole for my luggage tag. And then I'm going to get a piece, and this is crumb cake. It's just a piece of ribbon. I'm going to get this ribbon and I'm going to put it through like this. And I'm probably going to cut it right about there. Okay, so there's my ribbon. And I'm going to get some of the Calypso Coral, and I'm going to use one of these dies. And what I liked about this die is that it looks kind of like a stamp, like a postage stamp. So I think I used, let me see what size I used. I think I used this size. Yep, I used this size, and that's going to hold our luggage tag. Yep, that's what I used. So I'm going to just run this through the Big Shot. And there it is. Isn't that pretty? And it's got a nice stitched edging. I love these things. Okay, so here is my tag, and that's going to go right about here, and then this is going to go right there. Now, I'm going to make this look like a luggage tag. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half. And I'm going to get this piercing tool right here, okay, and I'm just going to pierce it right there, kind of next to my tag. And I'll move in so you can see that, but I just kind of pierced my ribbon right there. Then I'm going to get this, I have a box of these neat little brads, and I'm going to open them up, and I'm just going to pick, I think I'm just going to pick that nice kind of bronze one. So I'm going to pull this back out, and I'm going to stick this brad in the hole that I created with my piercer. And that's going to go right through like that. Okay, get it all the way through, and then I'm going to lay it flat. And I'm just going to kind of hold my piercer and kind of split it open. And then I'm just going to spread it apart. And there you go. There's my luggage tag. So my luggage tag, if my card is going to go like this, then I'm going to have my my tag, and my little luggage tag is going to go off right there. So I am going to grab a dimensional. We're going to pop this luggage tag up. Right there. I'm going to pop that luggage tag up like that. And we're going to put that right there. And then this is we're going to pop up. We're going to put some dimensionals on this one. And that is going to go right there. So here's my card. It's going to open up this way. So I'm going to put this right here. Okay, and now I can go ahead and I can glue this on the back of my card. Put it on the back of my card and put it on my base card. There we go. So that was pretty easy. Okay, so there you go. I've showed you a technique called the 180 degree stamping, where you kind of take a background stamp, or you can just take a bunch of stamps and you just kind of turn them around 180 degrees, and you use you can use two shades that are very similar. And the example was like Fleur de Flamingo and Blushing Bride, or Petal Pink, okay? Or you can use some stronger colors like this one, which was your pool party, and your cherry cobbler, which was used to make this one. So these were used here, and then this was Petal Pink and I believe it wasn't Rococo Rose. I don't know what the name of that one was. I think it was Petal Pink and I can't find that one. I'll put it in the comments. And then using the same technique, but instead of using one big large stamp, using several stamps kind of all together as a grouping, and this set really kind of lends itself to it. This is the Parisian Beauty. And then just kind of stamping around, and then just showing how we kind of made it look rather distressed. We distressed it, and then we made a little luggage tag using the here's the stamp set. So this goes together. This is the Tags in Bloom. So we use the Tags in Bloom and the So Sentimental, which has this really cool group of framelits. And I think you've seen all the different ways that Amy used in her postings. But I kind of wanted to show you how nice they layer up and make some really pretty sentiments and some nice labels. I really think that's kind of cool. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please like and share. That's how people on Facebook find me. And have a great evening, and stay safe and stay healthy.